Okay, so I just played back a little bit of recording and I heard the birds, and I hope they're not a bother. I know they are pretty, but they can be tedious after a while. So if they are a hassle and they're sort of diverting your attention and they're too loud, then let me know and I'll have to find somewhere else to record. Okay, so the Ascendant. You know a fair amount about the Ascendant, but all we ever sort of hear on the internet astrology, tells us that the Ascendant is what we look like. You know, people say the big three, the moon, the sun, and the Ascendant. Some people hate that expression, the big three. I think it sums it up quite well for the internet astrologers. They can keep that expression. Okay, so what does the Ascendant really mean? Well, first of all, we sort of need to talk about what the houses actually do. So the planets are the what of astrology. The signs are the how of astrology, and the houses are the where. So what, how, and where. So where in a person's life, which area of your earthly existence does the energy indicated by a planet or a sign or a configuration manifest itself? So it's where. Okay, so planets are what, signs are how, and houses are where. Okay, so no matter what you choose to do house-wise, it's so some people use whole signs, some people use Koch, which is Koch. Some people use draconic or heliocentric. There's so many different types. But no matter what, every single horoscope has the 12 divisions. Each one of the divisions is 30 degrees. So the ascendant, so from the first house to the second house is 30 degrees. And every chart, no matter what sign or what system you do, has an ascendant. Well, they all have the angular, the succedent, and the cadent, but sometimes they're just in different positions with different astrology. So yeah, just as there are several basic divisions in which the signs are done and categorized, there's also those three major divisions with the houses. So all the things I'm saying, just try and note down, because it's coming sort of sporadically, but I'm trying to dig into all of the memory bank of everything I've got with these lessons. So sometimes it'll just come out of my mouth, it'll just jump out, and it's in between some other things. So I do apologise for that, and you may have to listen a couple of times too. I just had some coffee. I think you could probably hear it as well. Okay, so the Ascendant, going back to the very beginning, like I was starting about 9 minutes ago, I think. The Ascendant, or the first house cusp, or the rising sign, is our projected image. Like I said before, we've come into life and we look like something. You know, other people can see us, they see what we look like. We have characteristics and body types and all those things, and that is the rising sign. It's like a door which we express and activate our inner motivations and psychological needs in our immediate environment, right there in front of us. So when I do a crime chart, for example, the first house represents the person that I'm asking the question about, the first person. And it also represents what a person looks like, so I can describe this person. It also shows in a crime chart, the ascendant shows us, like, if the ruler of the suspect of the particular crime is in the first house, then this shows us that the suspect was right in front of the victim. So the first house is right in front of, basically. It's what you look like, what's right in front of you, and the needs that you have in your immediate environment around you. So we've talked about what the ascendant is, but it's the point of the ecliptic, or the degree of the zodiac, that rises above the eastern horizon at any given moment. So it's a point in space that rises above the eastern horizon at that time we were born, at that location. So the hours, the time of day in the 24-hour day, is what's important for the ascendant. Every 2 hours, the ascendant changes. So it's the quickest changing thing in a chart, every 2 hours. The moon takes 2.5 days to change, but the whole wheel itself changes every 2 hours. So we have the typical descriptions of the ascendant: Aries rising, Taurus rising. I'll go through those. So Aries rising is an angular rising sign. It is a cardinal rising sign, Aries. So remember, we associate all those things with Aries. It's somebody that is an initiator. It's the beginning. Remember, I talked about that before. Aries, or the first house, everything, and in that area is the beginning. It's when you're born, it's like, oh, a breath of life. So Aries is like energetic, impulsive. So it's a cardinal fire sign. It's enthusiastic and impatient, and they can rush, because Aries is all about getting things done really fast. They just want to do everything because they've been born into life and like, holy moly, look how good it is. I just want to do everything. In terms of what they look like, it's interesting, but Aries rising, the hair is usually pretty thin. It's not like a Leo mane. Like, they may have a lot of hair, but it'll be sparse. It won't be thick like Leo. So that's the difference in fire hair, basically. Quite often, a red-headed person with a fair complexion, freckles, etc., are an Aries rising. So if you see a person like that, and you see that they often have like a hook sort of nose as well, but not huge, or like pointy with a little hook maybe. So sometimes you'll see them with a pixie nose, and sometimes you'll see them with a hook, but it's always quite thin. What else with Aries rising? We'll do the basic rundown for now, so I can get through it. Okay, so Taurus rising. As you know, it's somebody that is strong and steady. It's the first house in the succedent house system. It is a fixed sign. It's an earth sign, so it's fixed earth. And fixed earth is somebody that is secure, stable within themselves. Taurus is always very stable, to the point sometimes of being stubborn. But these people and yourself just want what they want, and they like what they like. And if they don't like it, they'll say it. There's two types of bodies with Taurus rising. There's a Venusian body shape, which is a beautiful goddess looking, very proportionate, male and female, not just goddess, proportionate people. And then there is the Taurus rising, and that is usually a male actually shows this, and it is the thick neck. That's a male thing because the neck is related to Taurus, and a strong build. Pretty, they're always very pretty, and the men seem to be very good looking because it's ruled by Venus, and Venus is beauty. Okay, so where Aries is over enthusiastic and quite reactive to stimulus, and Aries always has the need to succeed at everything, with immediate results. But Taurus has a need to achieve some form of concrete success through the projection of themselves upon their environment. And now the rooster started. That's typical. I apologise. The Gemini is different, and they come across as talkative and friendly and witty and charming and intelligent. But Gemini has a desire to express itself in so many different ways. It's versatile, and there is a constant need for change in the environment to keep these people happy. They are usually doing many different things. They've got their finger in each little bit of pie. They can be quick, nimble, and light-footed. That's something that a Gemini can be, apart from, because you can't see their mind, obviously. You can usually see that they're very talkative, but visually, you can tell a Gemini by hand movements when they talk, gestures with their hands. The shape of their face is usually a heart shape. There's usually long fingers, so there's dexterity in a Gemini. And Geminis actually like to change their appearance a lot. So in an attempt to sort of gain experience in all different areas of life, Geminis can change their appearance in order to get that knowledge and experience. Okay, the Cancer rising. Generally, they're quite demure. As I've written in there, the new situations and environments can be a little bit scary. It can be, they can be a tad anxious. You have the typical scenarios that they appear motherly. Cancer Ascendant shows like a moon face, a round face. It can have small hands, small sort of squarish hands. So yeah, the face is round like the moon, but the hands are square. What they do have is a keen awareness for self-preservation. It's Cancer rising is very sympathetic and sensitive in its approach to life, but it has this overriding tendency to take initial impressions personally. So that can happen with the Cancer rising. Oh, my dog just won't stop now. That's great. I can't stop this recording until I've finished either. Okay. So with the Cancer Ascendant, the initial drive of that person is to secure their foundations, to be at home, to be safe. They want to be safe at home, basically. It's why people that have Cancer rising tend to be introverted types. Okay, Leo, this person is pretty confident to talk to usually. When they walk into a party, they'll be the life of the party. They'll have something to say and people will notice them. Deep down, they actually sometimes have a lot of anxiety, but on the outside, they look like they're doing fine. What they tend to do is dramatize their life, basically. They tend to have this personal drama going on all the time. So the Leo has to become aware of that and aware of the fact that other people don't generally like drama, and other people can see it because that's what they're looking at with the Leo, more so than the sun. They're not looking at the sun, they're looking at your rising sign. So sometimes the Leo rising people just have to tone it down a little bit. In terms of looks, Leo rising is usually pretty good looking. They have a lot of hair, curly hair. You can tell a lion, actually. They just stand out. And I will show you some examples of what people look like in terms of their rising sign too. Okay, so the Virgo Ascendant. These people, they always look younger than they are. So that's one clue. It usually indicates a person who is very fastidious in their image and their surroundings and how to organize themselves. They need to organize themselves well. They need that structure. It can become OCD at times. There's a certain tightness or controlled image that is present in an effort at self presentation, according to the Virgo's concept of what should be right, what is the proper appearance. So the Virgo can tend to be a little bit critical in terms of how other people look and how they look. But then a Virgo ascendant gives the ability to learn about yourself through helping other people. So being of service, that sixth house, that Virgo, that is visible in the person, a person who's helpful. It's a person that can master many different things, crafts, but it's also a person that has a giant fear that it's not going to be good enough. Virgos are quite difficult to pick out because they can be confused with Gemini. The ruling planet is Mercury for both, and that is the talking with the hands. They can have thin lips, actually, the Virgo rising, but it's a little tricky to distinguish the Virgo rising from the Gemini rising. Visually, I mean. The Gemini rising is far more talkative than the Virgo rising. Okay, so the Libra rising is what we've discussed before. These people can be charming, very nice to talk to. I've just got a basic description up there, charming and creative. They can be creative because they can do many different things. Libra rising can be really persuasive, and as good as they are in talking about fairness and justice, they can also be persuasive the opposite way. They can persuade you quite easily to do something that you don't want to do, but they do it in a way that you don't even realise it. In general, a Libra rising, though, apart from being quite often a psycho, No, I'm only joking, but that has shown to be true, that psychopaths often have a Libran rising. Libra in itself is in a continual search for social relationships. So a Libra ascendant has a really strong need to have many different contacts, and they tend to see themselves through the eyes of other people. And I relate to that. That's very true. I have Libra rising myself. To look at, Libra is quite tricky to see. It's ruled by Venus as well, so we've got Taurus in the way there. But Libra rising is generally quite pretty, proportionate. The lips are usually quite thick, and eyes are big, not small. The nose is usually like a button nose. And with Libra, there can be a really strong indecisiveness when it comes to self-expression. So that's one thing that's not so great. Okay, the Scorpio rising. You can see those really, I see them clearly. They have this really weird intensity to them. Their eyes are usually like really piercing, blue or green or whatever colour they are. It looks like they have like eyeliner all around their eyes. You know what I mean? Like it brings out the eyes, and they have this deep look to them. I think they stand out more than anybody in all the rising signs, actually. There's charisma and magnetism with the Scorpio ascendant. People with Scorpio ascendants are independent. They like to be self-reliant, and they have a goal to go to, and they head there basically on their own, with or without you. There's an awareness of sexual energy, so these people can exude sexuality. And like I said before, there's the eye colour and the eye intensity as well, which is really strong. You can just see them a mile away. Okay, Sagittarius rising is ruled by Jupiter, so the person could fluctuate in weight, but the basic meaning of it is that there's an expansive need for self-expression, or a great expansiveness of self-expression is a better way to say it. These people to look generally like they're very brave and optimistic and friendly and outspoken. They like to act spontaneously. They'll use opportunities as they arise. They'll like to travel. Remember I said Jupiter and the 9th house and Sagittarius is, and I'll explain Jupiter more when we get into planets obviously, is travel. So these people like to travel a lot too. Okay, Capricorn rising. Now, Capricorn rising, they usually have a really good sense of humour, actually. That's the first thing that I notice with the Capricorn rising, is that they're very dry. There's this serious air to Capricorn ascendants, but it's that seriousness and dryness that makes me laugh. But yeah, in terms of body, Capricorn is associated with the legs and the knees, so it can give knee problems. So you could have visually have a problem with legs. It gives a bit of a shorter, stockier build, dark hair. People with Capricorn rising are usually pretty self-restrained, and they have this need to project like a good self-image to other people about themselves, even if it isn't so good. Capricorn rising people can see situations from all different angles, so they can assess the total view of something better because they see so many different avenues for that particular thing. So they need structure. So that's why a Capricorn is Saturn and 10th house. It's all structure. It's something that you exude. So a Capricorn rising can be like a stern-looking person. So like the Scorpio rising that exudes that intensity, the Capricorn rising exudes that sturdiness. So they're quite obvious as well.